Hello everybody, welcome to another fly tying session with your host Scott. Today we're going to be tying a rather advanced pattern. This one is called the Foam Daddy, and we're going to utilise craft foam to make an extended body. In this case, this is like a beigey colour that matches the real fly, the crane fly, or daddy longlegs as we all know it. We're going to need some dark brown uni thread in 8/0. The hook size that we're going to be using later to finish the fly off is a B100 in size 10. And the reason I use the B100 is they have a much lighter gauge wire, which is ideal for a dry fly such as this. The B110 is a little heavy. It's a much heavier gauge, and I think it might sink the fly. We're going to need a couple of capes. First of all, for the main hackle, we're going to need a red Indian, or natural red Indian cock. And we're also going to need a badger for the wings. Very good friend of mine, Ken, we fish together a lot, has taken the time to knot some pheasant tail fibres for me, bless him. Looking forward to fishing with him again. Thank you very much, Ken, it's much appreciated. I'll give you a shout out on the channel. Yep, fantastic bloke. It's an honour to be his friend. So you need to cut the foam about 4mm wide with a split down the middle, right down the middle. That's very important. With you sort of blunt it off at the end in that sort of shape. But that's not overly important at the moment. And I'll show you why shortly. So it's the same method as what we used to do the mayfly, except we don't need any pheasant tail fibres tied in to start with. You're going to put a layer of thread in right on the point of the needle, as close as you dare. The closer the better. Whoops. But not so close that it just flies off the needle. There we go. And then the tag end you're going to keep and pop that into the needle, the eye of the needle, out of the way. Then you're going to get your foam and offer it up to the needle, and then put the point into the foam. That holds it in place. Then your first turn, you're going to come over as a loose turn and then pull tight onto the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 5 turns around to lock the foam. Then you want to come up the needle, advance up the needle with close turns, or as close as you can, because it's very difficult to do. You're tying in the opposite direction than what you would with your weakest hand. To the point where you get to where you think the segment should start, the first segment. Loose turn and pull tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives you your rib. And then you just keep repeating. Now, so that there's no silence while I do the next few segments, I just wanted to mention the fact that today is the 1st of December, and I went fishing on Friday the 29th of November, and it wasn't looking good. There wasn't much activity at all. We got some sort of east wind going on, and it wasn't a very nice day. In fact, it didn't really get light. Couldn't see any fish anywhere. There was the odd one rising, and I, out of desperation, tied this monstrosity of a dry fly on and chucked it in the general direction of where these fish should be. I'd seen rising, and it didn't take long before one came up and had a look, and it splashed at it to drown it, and then it came up for a second go and took it properly. So it's very important with this fly, because it's so big. Some of the trout probably don't feel confident enough to just come straight up and swallow it. They feel like they need to drown it a little bit first. So the first rise might not necessarily be the bite. The second rise, or even the third, may be the bite. So really with this fly you want to just wait until the line tightens up rather than striking at the first splash. So you want to end up with a body, it's about 1 inch long. If you've got any crane flies buzzing around in the house, catch one and keep it prisoner for a little while. Obviously you'll let it go when you're done, and then you'll get an idea of what size it needs to be and how many segments and so on. But we've got 6. I've done smaller segments on this one than the one I tied earlier. I'll show you the one I tied earlier. That's what we're hoping to get. That one's got 5 with a 6th on the hook, so this will have 7 overall. I did film that one and the thread broke and it didn't look very professional the way I finished it off. I wanted to do it properly, so we're doing another one. So that's long enough. To finish it off, you're going to half hitch on the last segment, not on the thread, on the segment. And you want at least 3, because there's a chance one of them might come undone while you're trying to get it off the needle. Come in with your good scissors and trim tight and close. Get your tag out of the eye, grab hold of the body and just keep twisting like that just to loosen it and ease it off the needle like so. And that's what you're going to end up with. Now as you can see, that last segment looks a little bit big, so we can trim that. Now there is a split there, you don't want to cut through the split, so you have to be very careful at this point to get it right. And you sort of want to end up with a tail that looks like an arrowhead, like that. That closely resembles the natural, and also the natural's got a dark spot right on the end of the tail. So to do that, I would recommend that you use a normal cigarette lighter for this, but as it's YouTube and in order to get views you have to do ridiculous things, it's go big or go home time. So we've got ourselves a blowtorch. So there we are, don't try this at home. You just want to literally singe it, like so. That's it, that's all you need. Overkill. Right, that's the body done. And I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll come back to you when the hook's in the vise. Okay, welcome back folks. So we've got the hook in the vise, we've got all of our materials ready. Let's just hope and pray I'll get it right this time. So we're going to put a bed of thread down onto the hook. You're not going to go all the way around the hook. You want to go to about there, maybe as far as the point even, like so. It'll give you plenty of room to tie in the foam and your hackles and so on. You're going to get your body that you tied earlier. And we'll offer it up to the hook. So that the foam actually wraps around the shank. And you want we do a pinched turn. No, that's gone completely wrong. Let's try that again. This tag's in the way, hang on. We'll trim that off. You need to leave a bit on there, you need to tie it in. There we go, that's much better. That segment looks a little bit big, so we'll move it up a bit. So you're tying the last segment basically onto the hook. Like that. Then you're going to come in and cut as much of the foam away as you can get away with. The more foam you can get rid of, the better. That's not going anywhere, that's fine. So that's your body tied in. Then you're going to get your thorax cover that you cut earlier. And you're going to tie that in at the same place that you tied in the body. And then you want to get rid of as much of that foam as possible as well. And then tidy up. You end up with quite a step there, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Even with all that foam cut away, it's a bit of a lump there. So that's the main part of it done. Now some people would say it's easy from this point on, but this is where I've been going wrong in tying it before. So you're going to get 3 pheasant tail fibres for each side, so that's 6 in total. Random lengths, it doesn't really matter. The more random you can do it, you can have 2 up and 1 down, or 1 up and 2 down, and I normally try and keep it as random as possible. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's supposed to look like an insect in distress. There we are. You want to tie them in so that they're facing, the actual main parts of the legs are facing downwards slightly. It looks great from my side. I'll see if I can demonstrate it on your side now with the other 3 legs. Or in this case you can have all of them facing down, it really doesn't matter. What does matter is that they're tied in very, very well. And facing down the way, the main stalk of the leg, closest to the body. There we are. Then I would probably leave a lot of that leg in actually and trim it pretty much the length of the rest of the body. I like that. That'll be a bit long. Don't want any going over the eye, you need to keep that eye clear. That's the hard part with this particular pattern. it does get busy up there. So then we're going to go back up to where the thorax cover is tied in, and we're going to get two decent shaped feathers for the wings. There we are, that should do it. You see how realistic they look? They look really just like what you're hoping to achieve here. And you want to tie those facing slightly up. Not, you can do it so it's straight, but I'd do it so they're slightly up so they stay away from the wing, the legs, excuse me. And you want them slightly shorter than the body, only slightly shorter though, like so. You can do these at the same time if you like. Some of you are more skilled than I am will probably be able to do that. Whoops, that's okay. We'll start again. That's the problem with that step I was on about there with the foam. You need as little foam there as possible. Let's see if we can get rid of that step. Okay, that's better. There we go. Wonderful. Then again, you want to leave, you don't want to trim this tight to where you've tied it in. You want to leave a little bit in because you don't want these to come out. So now at this point we're going to get an appropriate sized hackle feather. I'll show you another one I did earlier. This one's a monstrosity because I picked the wrong size hackle feather. He's got a lot going on. It needs a haircut. So that was take 2. We're on take 3, I'll be honest. Right, so we want a fairly decent feather, but not one that big. This one looks about right, then I'm looking now. Still a meaty one, but it's not as big as that other one. There we are, and then we're going to want to wind that hackle pretty much the full length of this section here. I like to use these style of hackle pliers. These are made by a company called Stonfo. I think that's how you pronounce it anyway. touching turns with the hackle. And I think that will do it. Now you can just get rid of this and just fish it with a hackle. But I like to put this in because it makes it easy to retrieve it without drowning it. And it also creates a wake as well, which attracts the fish. So you can fish it a bit like a floating lure as well. So you want to brush the hackle fibres that are misbehaving back and come back quite a long way into them. Like so, and then we're going to split them and then bring this over the top. Any that have come forward with the foam, try and brush back. Hold the foam in position, come over the top, tight turn, and then lock it into place. Pull the head back, tidy up the head at the eye. And then what I normally do is I come in and trim that little bit out of the way to create a head. Like so. And if you want to get really fancy, you can give it some eyes. You don't really need to do that. There we are. Let's just change the orientation of the thorax cover slightly because it was on the squiff. The wings are sitting nicely. I think this is ready to finish off. Dubbing needle. There we are. So I like to half hitch. You guys can use a whip finishing tool if you prefer. Most of the pros out there can use a whip finishing tool. I can't, I confess. I'm hoping to demonstrate the fact that even if you can't use a whip finishing tool, you can still tie your own flies. There we go, all done. And then we're just going to come in with the varnish and flip it over. Needs quite a lot of varnish. Clear the eye. So make sure that the body's straight, the wings are in the right orientation. The legs are looking pretty good as well. And there we have it. That is the foam daddy long legs, crane fly, whatever you prefer to call it. thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.